have something that a little out of the norm, and so I had to research the section of the code that was involved. Sometimes it's that way.
So we're unmuted and live.
Okay.
Oh, we have a different camera.
We have a new camera.
New camera. Ramona's here. Ramona?
Man, y'all moved me.
Yeah. Morning. Morning.
Morning,
Okay.
morning, Kathy.
How do I gallery view? How do you change it to this?
Maybe you click on it.
Stop. Nope.
Was that a dog or a cat?
I got two dogs right here.
Anyway, so let's see. So that's Ramona's back.
Good
So
morning. You got a haircut.
so everything's reversed.
It didn't cost me the extra.
Did you not make your grades this semester? I know with my brothers, it was like, yeah, okay, it's come out.
You know, it seems the room seems
Actually, it looks very.
because like
nice.
this is this area right over here.
Oh, you have your new
See what I
camera.
mean? It seems like it's over there.
Is it built in?
So it's inverted. So if you look at the clock, it's
Mirror.
But I mean,
Oh.
Morning, Cindy.
Good morning, Ramona.
everything would be.
If I walk to the camera, I want you to see my crab on my necklace.
Hey, I'm over here.
We've had our
Oh.
mind on it.
It's kind of weird. Yeah, you got it.
Eamon did his best.
Can she see
If
it?
he can't do
Oh, yeah, I can see it.
Do it.
You can? That's pretty cool. I'm feeling crabby today, everybody.
Okay, all righty then. Do we take the red or the blue pill for that?
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure. It's like, because it could be a blue crab or,
In here, we have two realities. Red pill and blue.
blue.
Okay. The meeting of the Aransas County Appraisal Review Board is called to order. It is June the 24th at 8:29. We are gathered together to have hearings on protester protests. Which one are we doing first?
Could be-
578?
Yes,
Okay.
case 578.
The first one on the first page.
Go ahead and dial them up whenever you're ready. We're ready over there, right?
Sure.
Back there? Yeah. Okay.
Thank you for doing that, Dan.
This is Lori.
Lorraine, this is Charlie Powers at the Appraisal Review Board. How are you this morning?
Hi, good morning. Did you say Charlie?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm good. Thank you for calling me back so promptly.
Oh, no problem. We have a little administrivia to go through before we get to the meat of the matter, so just bear with us, okay?
Okay, very good.
This hearing is being recorded. We are the Appraisal Review Board that will be hearing your protest today. Present at the table are myself, Charles Powers, Cindy Duck, Kathy Hoffman, and Robert Dayton. Ramona LeBlanc is with us via Zoom. We do not work for the appraisal district. We are appointed to perform an independent review of your protest. The Comptroller's Office provides an electronic survey for you to offer feedback about your experience today that may be accessed at the appraisal district office or online at surveymonkey.com/r/survey-ARB. Survey is voluntary, but we do encourage you to take it. You have the right to appeal our decision. Appeal information will be provided to you with our determination. In accordance with Tax Code Section 41.45H, all written material that has not been provided must be provided at this time. Lorraine, I'm assuming that you have inputted all of your evidence. Is that correct?
Yes, it was faxed last Thursday, and then I hand delivered a packet in the Dropbox Sunday evening when I drove into town.
Okay. Then
And
we
then
have
I
it.
called, yeah, I did, yeah, and then I called to confirm receipt.
Okay. Thank you. ARB members who are considering the protest have not communicated with anyone about the protest and are signing affidavits to that effect. I'll begin with I, Charles Powers, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of text code 741.66F.
I, Cindy Duck, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F, and I am signing to that effect.
I, Pat Cochran, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66.
I, Robert Dayton, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F.
I, Ramona LeBlanc, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F, and am signing to that effect. And I'm physically located in Texas.
I, Valerie Smith, am notarizing Ms. LeBlanc's signature via Zoom, and I am also physically located in Texas.
All testimony from all witnesses must be given under oath. Lorraine, I'm assuming that you're under oath as you signed the affidavit.
Yes,
Very good, thank you. Mike?
My name is Michael Soto. I do solemnly swear or affirm that testimony I shall present to the Appraisal Review Board for the Aransas County Appraisal District is true and correct.
Lorraine, are you an appraiser?
no,
Very good, thank you. Do you have, or can you put your hands on the time limits page? It's the chart of hearing procedure times.
the time limit space.
It's called Hearing
Hearing
Procedures
procedures
Times.
time.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
You have that?
Yeah, the timeline. It's kind of hard to hear y'all. I'm so sorry, but I'm doing my best to understand what y'all are saying.
I understand. Do you have that chart in front of you?
Okay, the chart that you're referring to was in the original packet mailed to me.
Yes, it's called hearing procedure times.
Yes, I have it.
Okay.
I have it.
You'll notice at the top that we can start off one of two ways. Either you go first or the district goes first. Which would you choose to do?
You go first.
Okay, Mike, you have 5 minutes.
Certainly. The subject property is located in South Rockport. It's a South Rock property. You can see that the picto imagery indicates that it's on Water Street, but it's not on water. There's an actual thing in front of it. So it's kind of like from that standpoint, it's not a waterfront, it's just a water view home. This might have been one of the comps that we would have used to actually raise that South Rock area in general. This was a sale this last year. Our indicated value that we have for that is $390,000. You can see that we currently have the subject property assessed at $399,000. We have a 5 BS plus classes from 1 to 7, 1 being a poor home, 7 being an excellent home. 4 would be an average home. This is just above average home. VS stands for vinyl siding. It's got it looks like a metal roof on it. You can look at the next sheet, which is the two things that are protest, I believe, are the appraised market value and unequal compared with other properties. Yes, those are the two things under protest. So on our comp sales grid, this will address the appraised market value. Of course, comp number 1 is the subject sale at $390,000. Comp number 2 is on 1401 Water Street. This again is very similar in land valuation to the subject property. You can see that that's a 5 FB. That one sold for 464,000. When adjusted to the comp, you have a valuation of 444 and change. Comp number 3 and 4 respectively sold for 310 and 547. When adjusted with the comp, they have respective values of 367 and 407 200. The indicated mean value for all of those sales in that area. And again, I want to just point out that these are all in that either South Rock or further on down the Shell Ridge Road area. And so when you look at that median value, it's 398,600. These would have similar views as the subject of Copano Bay. When you move on to unequal compared with other properties, you look at the comp equity grid. These are not necessarily sales, they're just other properties that are in that South Rock area that are going to have similar classifications as the subject. So you'll see that in comp 1, we have a 4MV, comp 2, we have a 5FB, comp 3 and 4, we have a 5SB and 5SS respectively. Comp number 5, we have a 5ST. So again, we're trying to get in that 4 and 5 range. When you look at the indicated value for the median value when compared for equity, that median indicated value is 399,095. Again, it warrants just a very minor change from that standpoint, from an equity standpoint, but it's less than $1,000 there. So the number's pretty tight. I think, again, our best information is 390 for the subject sale that just occurred in August. So there's two things under protest: market value and equity. When you look at market value, I would say that the most recent sale for the subject has the most weight. I mean, so it's going to be the most comparable. It is the subject. It sold for 390. But if you're looking at other sales, like what are some other things that are going on in that neighborhood, they actually support a valuation of 398,600 from that median indicated value here on the comp sales grid. On the equity grid, these are not necessarily sales. They're just other properties, and how are they appraised in comparison with the subject property. You'll notice that there's 399,095 is a median equity value. There's a small warranted change there. And that's all I have. Beyond that, it's just a sales ratio report for that area to the south. It looked like Manning. Yeah, the Manning area. And that weighted average is 102 and average mean is 108.
Okay, so ma'am,
Yes,
now you have 2 minutes to cross-examine, and then you'll have your 5 minutes for your presentation.
okay. So I purchased the property last August. I paid the $390. The land value is every bit of the $150,000. My physical address is Austin Street. I do have a water view. The house sits back like closer to Austin Street. I'm the last house. I was hesitant to buy the property at $390, but I did it anyway for sentimental value because of the dilapidated little hotel that's next door to me that I see every day. I should say see every day. This is my second home. It's not being maintained properly. In fact, if I were to stand outside right now, the grass is probably to my kneecaps. So it's not a very nice view. In regards to the comps that were presented, granted, the various comps on Water Street, similar view perhaps. I don't know where they sit on the lot on Water Street, but they're simply market projections, and I don't feel that they are actually what, I don't believe those property owners would actually get those values. It was hard when I purchased this home to find comps because there really weren't any when I bought it. I bought it because I wanted the house and I was willing to pay in my opinion, a little bit of a premium because I like the lot, I like the view. But as far as, I have no discrepancy with the land value, but as far as the value of my home itself at $399, I just felt like that was a stretch. And the $390 that I paid, in my opinion, I paid a premium for it. There hasn't been any improvement since I bought it. And I realize it's more of a market estimate of what this house is probably valued at, but I just think it's high. So when I look at when I bought it a year ago and there hasn't been any improvements, physical improvements, I realize that we're looking at market values. I just feel like there's a discrepancy. So like that much of a move since 1 year ago. And again, the comps that were presented, homes on Water Street, and I'm on Austin with the water view. I just feel like that it's just a little bit too high. And I would like for y'all to consider looking at what it was appraised for last year, if at all possible, even though I paid $390, which in my opinion was a premium because I wanted the home on this property.
All right, and I went ahead and went into your presentation time, and you're at 3.5 minutes you have left.
Okay, so I'm not going to talk just to talk. I already made my point.
Okay.
I realize that the comps are guesstimates, if you will. I realize that the best comp that you have for my home is the $390, which I paid for, which I thought was a premium, but I loved a lot. I'm not on Water, I'm on Austin. And I just feel like if you look at last year's, the 2019 market value versus this year versus what I paid for, I just feel like the $399 is a bit high. And in fact, I don't think anybody would even pay $390 for this property. I bought it to secure it, hoping that the people next door would eventually demolish the property or offer the lot between us to me so that I can block the view of this dilapidated hotel. I just don't see anybody wanting to buy it because of my neighbor. And I submitted pictures so y'all could see what I'm looking at. And I don't know, being that this is a conference call, we're probably, I don't know if y'all are on, if everyone was able to see those photos, but it's pretty
Yes,
nasty.
ma'am.
I mean, there's cats going in and out.
Yes, everybody can see them.
Okay. So I really don't have to say much more. You know, I think I'm done with my argument. It's more subjective. But I hope that you would consider, based on what I'm looking at on a regular basis, I honestly don't feel like my home would even sell for what I paid for.
Okay.
And I'm done.
Okay. So now, district has 2 minutes to cross-examine and 2 minutes for rebuttal.
Yeah, in the cross-examine time, all I'd like to just reiterate is the 390 is what the subject property sold for. Thank you for affirming that. The two things under protest are market value. The largest indicator of value is the subject property sale. Although there's been other sales at 399 that support a comp sales. We have the subject property at 399. The comp sales indicate that there's a warranted change at 398,600 for other sales in that area. They've all been appropriately adjusted. You know, as far as the motel to the south, you obviously looked at the property prior to purchasing it. You were aware that there was a motel to the south of you, is that correct?
I'm sorry, you're asking me if I was aware there was a hotel next door to me? That's what you're asking me?
Yes, ma'am.
Obviously, yes.
Okay. So the conditions of the sale were not hidden, the elements of the locale were not unknown to the subject property owner, and therefore she was fully informed in all market conditions. When you're looking at market value, we're looking at the price that it would exchange for on the open market for a reasonable period of time in which the buyer and seller are both fully informed, working in their own best interest. When you're looking at that, the buyer has affirmed that she was fully aware of all market conditions. It was a price that was exchanged on the open market for a reasonable period of time. It was, as you can see in the evidence, in our evidence and her evidence, there's even stuff with how it was listed. Went into my district rebuttal. 2 minutes, is that right?
Yeah, you've got 2 minutes.
Even in both of our evidence packages, you could see the realtor.com is evidence that it was on the open market. This is pretty clean and cut and dry. I mean, subject property owner paid $390,000 for the subject property. You know, we have even evidence that supports that value, both from a comp sales and from an equity sales, even more than the $390,000. Having said that, I mean, those are the two things under protest. I have two grids that support that value at $398,000 and $399,000 respectively.
But those are not homes that have actually sold. Those are just prospective market values on homes.
Yes, ma'am. The first grid is actual sales. So the first comp sales grid those are actual sales within this last period. So 1120 Austin Street is yours. 1401 Water is another sale. And if you look at the difference in land value, it's very little. So it probably has a very similar situation of Waterview. And that one sold for $464,000. Another one on Austin sold for $310,000. And this is on Austin Street again. Another 5FB, another class 5. That one sold for $310,000. And it's smaller than yours. You know, it's smaller square footage than yours.
Yeah, I think I saw that, like maybe 300 square feet smaller.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. And then when you're looking at the equity grid, okay.
Okay, and so now, ma'am, you get 2 minutes for rebuttal.
Okay, so focusing on the fact, okay, so my house is on Austin Street, view of Water Street. We look at the various comps. Last year, this property was valued at $377,000. The market value on the appraisal district, $377,280, and I paid $390,000. So, you know, I don't know what I would get for this property now. I know what I paid for, and what I paid for it, I still believe was a premium. I knew the hotel was next door. I was under the impression that either it was going away or they were going to fix it up, and nothing has happened since then. I don't believe the property should be valued above $390,000. I don't think if I sold it today, I would even get $390,000. I would get less than. So, you know, what has happened between last year and this year? I just don't believe that this property has gone up that much, that it's worth that much. I won't argue with the facts. The facts are I paid $390,000. I don't believe that taxes should be more than what I paid, because I believe in my gut that was a premium that I paid to buy this property for sentimental value. That's all I have.
Okay.
Okay, and then there's the closing, and I'm just curious, did anybody have questions? Because maybe now would be a good time to.
I just have one question for Mike. I'm looking at the realtor.com on your presentation, and what I have shows the estimated value of $305,000. Am I looking at something wrong?
Yeah, it's just their blanket. No, you're not looking at, that's the realtor.com estimate, yeah.
Is that what it was chosen, it was for sale for?
No, that's not what it was for sale for. It was for sale for more than that. It's just, the reason that that's in there is to show the photos of the interior, to talk about the quality and the class of the subject property.
Yeah, and then I had submitted, I don't think it was realtor.com, it may have been, I don't know that it was realtor.com where it said estimated value, like, I submitted 310 on the property, and that was in my packet that I sent to you guys, but, so it's a little all over the place.
Okay,
You know,
all
as far
right,
as
ma'am,
value.
all right,
Lorraine,
so,
hold up a minute.
hold up, okay, and then just one other question. Did we hear this case last year? We heard one similar, and I'm just curious, was this one that had gone before?
Is there a 19 appeal in the account? I'm getting that there's a negative on that. So
Okay,
there's
I
no.
don't remember.
okay, there was just one that down that area.
Okay. Go to district closing.
Okay, all right. Okay, all right.
District
So-
closing.
So now what we're at is the district closing for, oh, Ramona, did you have any questions?
No, I'm, not at the moment.
Okay, district closing for 1 minute.
This sale was one of the sales that actually was part of the change, meaning that the South Rock area was actually moved because of sales like this. And a real good illustration of that is that it was valued last year at 377. It sold for 390. That has an influence on not only the subject property, but the entire neighborhood. The 390 is not under question. It's not under debate. It's a fact that was confirmed by the property owner. Moreover, we have other sales in the area that actually indicate that the value should be 398 rather than 390. Having said that, 390 is the best indicator of value for the subject property in the current year. We have two grids indicating 398, 399. The subject property is at 399. That's our best information.
Okay, and now, ma'am,
Yes,
now you have 1 minute to close.
so being that it was, the market value was 377 and it was a vacant home, and I paid 390, and I don't feel like it should be more than 390 despite the other comps on homes that have sold on Water Street. Again, I'm on Austin Street with an ugly view of the neighbor next door to me, but I know what I paid for, and I think that if y'all are wanting to increase the market value to what I paid for it, then logically that makes more sense. But I don't think it's more than that. And in fact, I won't even get 390. I just know I won't. And regardless of what the comps are saying or what your estimates are, I just don't believe I would. But anyway, I know what I paid for, and I just don't believe it should be over 390.
Okay, and so now the appraisal review board gets 5 minutes in which we are able to discuss and come up with our answer. Okay,
The other sale on Austin Street has an indicated value of 367,158. That would appear to me to be low based on the other comps that were cited, and the fact that she paid 390. My recommendation would be we go with the 390.
I agree.
I agree. I would agree with that.
yeah, I'm leaning that way. What about you, Robert?
I think Mike has presented good evidence here that both the comp and the sales grid would support the 399, but I'm willing to.
She's at least would be, should be worth a decrease of 1,000.
Right.
60 at a minimum, but I think the best comp is her sale of 390, and it was recent.
And it was later in 2019. I mean, not so.
It's a recent sale.
I would agree to that.
Yeah, I think that she's correct in that the B part for us sell it for more than that at this particular time, so, especially with the mess next door, it was there when she bought it, it's still an eyesore. It's gonna be a problem, excuse me, for the buyer. So-
Right.
Okay, I make a motion based upon, on account number 59141, taking into consideration incorrect appraised, market value and the appraisal ratio exceeding the median level of the appraisal, that we lower the total value, for the property to $390,000
Second,
for 2020 value.
Yeah, which addresses the,
I said that.
oh, you said the
second,
second.
I second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, Lorraine,
Yes,
it's 390,
okay,
and you'll get paperwork to show that.
okay,
All
Thank
right?
you for participating.
all right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All righty.
Happy customer.
We're gonna get the next one.
I keep expecting him to walk in with someone.
I know.
I know.
Like, okay, go get him.
Rhonda, are you gonna be here tomorrow morning? Rhonda?
No, Ramona.
What?
Ramona, are you gonna be here tomorrow morning?
Yes.
Oh, okay, because I was able to get a doctor's appointment tomorrow morning that I've been waiting for months. So I won't be able to be here, so you'll still have a forum.
Yeah, I'll be here.
Okay with everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna be here, Cindy?
I'll be.
You'll be here?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's more than one.
We're
Yeah.
not having afternoon, at least after about 3 o'clock. Hearings tomorrow, it doesn't show that we are, but just want to confirm that. I have a 3:15 dentist appointment. I made it as late as.
No, I think tomorrow ends at,
That's better than 8 o'clock in the morning.
Y'all have a preference on which one to go first, right, or affidavit?
These are all affidavits that
Yeah,
are
we
not,
have three.
which accounts are they?
This one is the,
691, 602, and 541.
Okay, so it's past the time. All the rest are just affidavits and they indicate they do not intend to appear?
Yeah.
Hang on, let me
Let's
just
do
look at that.
691, it's the next one in line.
That's what I have too.
Yeah.
Robert.
Yeah, we can do that.
Account
Yeah, we're gonna make
20366.
691, there.
Tell me when you're ready.
Yeah, go ahead, Charlie, I'm ready to go.
Okay, we're opening a hearing on protest number 2020-691, account 20366. This is an affidavit-only hearing. It is being recorded. We are the appraisal review board that will be hearing the protest today. We do not work for the appraisal district. We are appointed to perform an independent review of the protest. At the table are myself, Charles Powers, Steve Duck, Kathy Hoffman, Robert Dayton, and via Zoom is Long. Protester has the right to appeal our decision. Appeal information will be provided to the protester with our determination. In accordance with Tax Code Section 4145, all written material is assumed to have been provided with the affidavit. The ARB members who are considering the protest have not communicated with anyone about the protest and are signing affidavits to that effect, and I shall begin. I, Charles Powers, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of Tax Code Section 41.66F.
Oh, I, Cindy Duck, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of Tax Code Section 4166F, and I have signed to that effect.
I, Kathy Hoffman, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of Tax Code Section 41.66.
I, Robert Dayton, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of Tax Code Section 41.66F.
Is Beth there?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
I, Ramona LeBlanc, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F and am signing to that effect. And I'm physically located in Texas.
I, Elizabeth Garazi, am notarizing Ramona's signature. I am also in Texas.
All testimony from all witnesses must be given under oath. I'm assuming the protester is under oath as they signed the affidavit. Mike?
My name is Michael Sutter. I do solemnly swear affirm the testimony I shall present to the Appraisal Review Board for the Aransas County Appraisal District is true and correct.
District Representative will now read the affidavit into the record.
Okay. The property owner's affidavit of evidence for Candace A. Derrick is 2010 Baywood Drive, Rockport, Texas, 78382. Phone number 361-441-7710. Baywood Drive is 2010 Baywood Drive. Incorrect market value is the item under protest that's checked. Evidence, it says 0, like 0 pages. Statement of facts or arguments. No improvements have been made to the home to warrant an increase of $14,268. Section 6, indicate how you intend to participate in the hearing. I do not intend to appear at the hearing either in person or by telephone conference call. This affidavit and the evidence and or arguments submitted with may be used for the hearing if I do not appear at the hearing, appear in person at the hearing. Signed by Candace A. Derrick on the 15th day of June, before Heather Rendon. That is the property owner's affidavit of evidence. The property owner is not here for me to cross-examine, so I will go straight into my evidence. The property is 20366. It's a house in Harbor Oaks. Unlike the property owner, there was, in our opinion, a warranted change just due to sales for dry homes, basically, or homes in that area. And you can see that the picto imagery of that subject property is there, and it's just a dry lot inside of Harbor Oaks. So Harbor Oaks currently have a valuation of $195,350. It's a 4MV. When you're looking at classifications of homes, 1 is a poor home, 7 is an excellent home, 4 would be an average home. We're saying that this is an average home. It's masonry veneer or brick home. Here's the comp sales on the comp sales grid that warranted the change. You can see that Sherwood Court sold for $265,000. Again, a dry lot, very similar to the subject. If you look at the land value, you can tell that pretty evidently. It's got a land value of the subject's got a land value of $68,000. The comp has only got a value of $62,000, and there's a small change there. That was a little bit better. It's a 5MV. When compared with the subject, it has a indicated value of $232. Comp number 2 sold for $301. When compared with the subject, it has an indicated value of $244. Comp number 3 is another one on Baywood Drive, and the subject is on Baywood Drive. This one sold for $371,000. And again, this is a dry lot, it's not a waterfront. Sold for $371,000. And so when you're looking at those sales, the indicated median value has an indicated median value of $244. The subject property is only at $195,350. Equity is not under protest, but I think it's relevant from the standpoint, you should not rule on it, but I just want to point out that we pulled other 4s and 5s in that same neighborhood with very minor adjustments. The indicated median equity value is 214, which supports the value of 195. Attached at the end of that is the sales ratio report for the Harbor Oaks subdivision. And you can see that the weighted mean is at 101, 101%. So that's it. That's what we've got.
Okay, so, ma'am,
It's an affidavit.
oh, it's, I'm
Affidavit.
sorry. God.
All right, Cindy.
Well, I know, I wasn't asleep, I'm sitting here looking at the picture. I can't figure out where this is.
It's Harbor Oaks.
No, I know it is, but, from this picture,
I can't use Picto, guys, so y'all have to go without it.
what you can't use it?
Picto's down. Whenever we're streaming like this, I've been trying
When
to
you
get it to
go
work.
down Harbor Drive,
Just keeps
Wait,
crashing.
Harbor Drive is the main drag?
Yes.
Main Street coming off of 35.
Yes.
You go down Harbor Drive, you take a left at Baywood. Baywood comes out on Harbor Drive there's a pump station in the middle of the street.
I see it on this
All right.
picture.
I
And
got
you
it.
turn left around the corner and it's the second house on the left.
Cindy, if you go Baywood Drive,
I got
the
it,
main
guys.
drag.
I got it. Mike, I got it. It just came up.
And I'm sorry, I
That's
just,
Yeah. You take a left on Baywood and it's the second house on the left.
So the main drive, the back of the property line is right here on the main drive, but you basically come this way, or you can come around this way.
okay, so the,
That's Ace.
Yeah, would you do that
Wait,
again,
what?
Mike? Which
That's
one-
Ace Hardware.
Which one is 35?
no, that I get it.
This is
but-
Highway 35. This is
Okay.
Ace Hardware.
Yeah.
This is coming in the main area. This is the subject property right here.
Oh, so where you turn off on Harbor Drive?
It's the second drive off of, on the
You can
left.
come either way, but I mean, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Encina goes over to Harbor Drive.
This is Encina Drive.
And the apartments are across
The
right
apartments are
there.
right here.
Got it.
Right.
Okay.
You're probably used to seeing it as you're coming in, so if you hit this button right, that one right there. You're probably used to coming in this way, and then it would be on your left.
Right. I mean, correct.
Okay,
I mean, but yes, so
okay,
awesome. Thank you. Thank you,
Certainly.
thank you.
at this point, would be the protester cross and protester rebuttal. They only have the affidavit that they presented. I have no district rebuttal. In closing, the only thing under protest is incorrect market appraised value. Unlike the subject property owner, and looking even at the house, probably 4 is not near enough as far as the classification of the home. Looking at it from a pictometry inventory. Having said that, it was a warranted change and it was due to sales in the area. That's been proven. Even furthermore, even though it wasn't under protest, I presented median equity value just to show that it's being appraised appropriately within the neighborhood. That's all we have.
Can you explain, Mike, on the listing we have the 10% cap, 2778?
10% cap.
Yeah,
Okay.
can you explain how that came off?
2778. I don't know what 2778 means.
2,778.
There was here, Mike, you want to come look
On this sheet, on
Screen.
on these sheets that we get,
It's right
there's
here.
a,
It's a 19 cap.
Yeah, that's a 19 cap.
It's
What does that mean?
Okay, so yeah. So you're looking at a 19 listing.
Mhm.
If you'll go back again. You see the value from the 164 to the 183? So 164, this property was under homestead at that point. So if you're looking at 164 times 110%, that would be 16,000. It exceeded, this 183 exceeded that amount. So it produced a cap loss. So if you took the 164,620 times 110, let me go through that math with you. So if you did 162,420, is that what I said? 164,620 times 1.1, that equals 181,000, okay? So that's the limitation that of the appraised value. The market value in that year, this is 19, we're not talking about 20.
Right.
In 19 was 183. Therefore, there was a $2,000 loss in appraised value from the market value difference. Market is whatever the market's selling for. There's a limitation of cap for homestead properties. So because this exceeded the 110%, there's always a cap loss. This year, there was not a cap loss.
So that's why he says an increase of 14,268.
Mhm.
And
And if you're looking
you
at,
show an increase of 11,490 because it doesn't take into consideration the removal of the cap.
Well, it isn't a removal, it's that it didn't exceed.
it didn't exceed 10%.
Exceed 10%.
That's correct. So if you're looking at the difference between, like we just went through this iteration between 164 and 183.
Right.
If you're looking at this one, an increase in value would be $18,000. There was an increase of 14,000, which did not exceed the 18,000. So there's no cap loss here.
Yeah.
That's why it's a zero here.
Okay.
Okay, and can I just clarify so I have this understood in my mind? When you look at the difference of appraisal to the cap, okay, are you going off of,
We're always talking about market.
Right.
You're only ruling on market.
right, but I'm saying, are you, that 2,778?
That was a cap loss in 19.
Right,
From
but
18.
right, so were you working off of 183,860, or were you working off of that 160 whatever?
181,082.
It's 181,082.
Right,
The one-
so which one were you working off of to get 10% increase or not?
Okay, we don't do these calculations by hand. They're in the system. So if it exceeds 10%, there's a cap loss. So
Right.
Mike Soto or none of his staff actually said, okay, this one should be a cap loss in the year of 2019 of 2,778. The system just knows that if it's above 110%, it looks at that difference and it just puts it in that year. Okay. So market value and appraised value, the difference between that is homestead cap loss limitation.
Right,
Okay. So we're always looking from that year. So you took 183 or 181, but it's 181. But if you took 181 times 1.1,
right,
that's 18,000.
right, and there wasn't
Because-
that big an increase.
Right. And therefore there's no cap loss.
But I'm just curious, okay, let's just pretend, I'm just asking procedurally. Is it, do you know, does it end up being off of the appraised value
It's the
or the
appraised
market
It's the
value?
appraised value. So the limitation is always on the appraised value.
So it would have been off of 181,
That's
whatever new number for 2020
That's correct.
compared to 181.
Because even if the market went, let's say hypothetically, I guess, and now we're getting into the weeds, but let's say hypothetically, you had a $100,000 property homesteaded, right? And the very next year we had a valuation of 200,000.
Right,
Just say the market said that it should be 200,000. Well, the very next year, they would be appraised at 110 because it would only be 10% more than
Yes.
the previous appraised value year. The next year after that, it would go to 121. And the next year after that, it would go to, it would keep going, even if the market value remained the
but
same.
only by 10%.
Only by 10%. And that would be the appraised value limitation. The homestead cap would keep climbing until they equaled out. Here, they're equaled out. There's no cap loss. It's zero at this point.
And so their tax bill, not their tax bill,
Their appraised value,
that comes to them in the mail would show the 181?
no, ma'am. It's 190.
No,
It's
last year, I'm sorry, Mike.
I believe theoretically, procedurally, that is correct. Without the information in front of me, that's correct.
And that's why her numbers of an increase of 14,268. And you have an increase of 11,490 because she didn't understand the cap coming off of 2778 coming off.
I don't even think she looked at that. She just looked at the
Oh, yeah,
difference
no.
between, she looked at the difference between the 180,
One,
180.
we got 195 minus 81. That equals the 14,000 because in her mind, that's all she paid on last year.
Exactly.
right, and that's, I'm just curious to know what's on the bill that they see.
I'm assuming that
Yeah.
that's what's going on.
Got it.
But the numbers do add up.
But it's good that everybody knows how cap loss works. You need to understand that that's not something that you rule on. It's something that's handled in
No,
the
I'm just
system.
trying to understand her,
So is
Yeah,
that why?
what she
her-
put forth.
Why the numbers are different. I mean,
I don't understand why her house is at 195,350 and the average market value is 244,123. So she's way below.
I agree with that sentiment.
Why is that?
well, I'll probably,
Yeah, we're, it's only based on what we saw.
So
And
she's getting a break here.
I will say that when
And she doesn't know it.
I will say that when I looked at this evidence package, I looked at the house and I go, that's not a 4. That's more like a 5. And when I'm looking at it on pictometry, the pool, the porch, the complicated hip roof, you know, that's not a 4. That's a 5. And so, but I can't do anything. I can't do anything about that this year, but yes.
So she doesn't know she's getting a break this year, basically.
I don't know what
And
she
you can't
believes.
tell her that.
She's not here for me to tell her.
Only
but
she-
understand,
Looks at
Kathy,
the tape.
next year,
She's gonna get a big
depending
bump.
on what's actually on the bill or the statement that you receive in the mail, she still may not realize that her market value has gone up, because if she only sees what she's liable for, which would only be a 10% increase
Right.
off of this 195. So she may, it probably would go up, but you know, we don't know. But she may not be aware of that. I mean, it's just making some,
Right.
because people will go, oh, well, no, I only paid this amount. It's just putting some things into, it makes sense now, because if the statement they receive only shows the number with the 10% cap,
It shows both. It shows everything.
it does.
The notice of appraisal shows the market value and the appraised value, and it shows the limitation of exemptions, shows the capital, it shows everything.
But that, yeah.
Okay,
All right, so there's only one thing under protest.
So,
So I make a motion based upon what we've seen. Ramona, any comments?
No, I'm agreeing.
Okay, so I make a motion based upon, on account number 20366, based upon what we heard from the affidavit and the evidence that we saw and from the appraisal district, that for 2020 value, and I believe this doesn't address the property owner's concern of incorrect appraised market value, that we leave the value of 190 market value at $195,350.
all in favor?
I,
Hearing is closed.
Interesting.
20421,
20421.
Arbor Oaks.
was that a 10 o'clock case or?
No, it's
It's
8:30.
the third one on that first page.
We got 2 more to get through before 10 o'clock. Yes.
I'm just waiting.
Oh, yeah. It's case number 541.
You ready?
Ready?
Okay.
Yes, yes, sir.
Opening a hearing on case number 2020-541, account 20421. This hearing is being recorded. We are the appraisal review board that will be hearing your appraisal today, the protest today. President of the table are Cindy Duck, Charlie Powers, Kathy Hoffman, Robert Dayton. Ramona LeBlanc is here by Zoom. We do not work for the appraisal district. We were appointed to perform an independent review of the protest. Protester has the right to appeal our decision. Appeal information will be provided to the protester with our determination. In accordance with Tax Code Section 4145H, all written material is assumed to have been provided with the affidavit. The audience members who are considering the protest have not communicated with anyone about the protest and are signing affidavits to that effect. And I will begin with I, Charles Powers, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of Tax Code 4166F.
Cindy?
I, Cindy Duck, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of Tax Code Section 4166F, and I have signed to that effect.
I, Captain Hoffman, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of Tax Code Section 4166F.
I, Robert Dayton, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of Tax Code Section 41.66F.
Beth is here.
I, Ramona LeBlanc, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of Tax Code Section 41.66F, and am signing to that effect. And I'm physically located in Texas.
I, Elizabeth Garazi, will be notarizing Ramona's signature, and I also am located in Texas.
All testimony from all witnesses must be given under oath. I'm assuming that the protester is under oath as they sign the affidavit. Mike?
My name is Michael Soto. I do solemnly swear affirm the testimony shall present to the Appraisal Review Board for the Aransas County Prison. Correct.
District Representative will now read the affidavit into the record.
Yes. Property owner's affidavit is Aransas County of account number 20421, 2020 year. Adrian and Marion Long on 2635 Encina Drive, Rockport, Texas 732. It has the phone number and email listed there. The two things under protest are incorrect appraised market value and values unequal compared with other properties. It's important to note, I'll just pause right there, that the only thing under protest that was an online protest that was actually checked was number 2, which appraisal ratio exceeds median level of appraisal. So it's, again, I wanted to point out that difference. I will continue on. Section 4, the evidence, it says 2 pages, 6 photos. State all facts and arguments that may help resolve your case. Refer to the attachment and photos. Hearing type, I do not intend to appear at the hearing either in person or by telephone call. This affidavit and the evidence and or argument submitted with it may be used for the hearing if I do not intend to appear at the hearing. Aransas, Marion Long, signed on the 5th day of June before Heather Rendon. Attachment, property owner's affidavit of evidence, property address 2635 Encina Drive, Rockport, Texas 732. Number 1, reason of protest, incorrect appraised market value, section 3. Our above property was listed for sale in November of 12th of 2018 by Key Allegro Coastal Loose Properties at $269,000. We received no offers despite an above average number of showings. After 90 days, we reduced the price to $265,900 at $165 a square foot. I guess I failed to read the $167 a square foot for the first section. Sorry. In June of 2019, the property was unsold and taken off the market. An exit survey from potential buyers cited one of the main concerns was the villas of Harbor Oaks facing our property. We have been in conversation with our president of Harbor Oaks Homeowners Association over continuing problems with street parking, dog waste, greenbelt parking, and lack of ground maintenance, junk and trash on patios, multifamilies occupying one unit. We understand the property is up for sale, but continues to have a negative effect on properties facing the apartments. Number 2, the reason of protest, values unequal compared with other properties. There have been 2 recent sales of similar properties on Encina Drive. 2621 Encina Drive is 1,655 square feet. Sold for $250,000 or $151 a square foot. 2263 Encina Drive, 1,916 square feet, under contract for $271,800 at $141 a square foot. We consider that $250 or $155 a square foot to be the appraised value of our property. My wife and I are elderly and live on fixed income. We have debt carried forward for the property repairs from the Hurricane Harvey. The Rockport real estate market is flat, depressed. The proposed 9% appraised value of our property in 2020 we find unacceptable for the reasons stated. Your consideration of this evidence is greatly appreciated. Marion Long and Adrian Long. Attached behind that are photos. And the first one shows, I guess, from their front lawn, looking to the southwest, and through the trees you can see the cars parked and the apartments there.
So they live in a house. This is just these are the apartments across the street. Right?
That is correct. The second is another vantage point. I believe it's from their front lawn, looking to the west northwest. The next one is a picture of greenbelt parking. So
Where's the green belt?
the greenbelt, Ramona, if you
I'm familiar with the apartments. I'm just not familiar what the green belt is.
they're
I
talking
would think it would be further down the road.
the location that they were talking about was somewhere right in here, somewhere right in this area, which is just to the southwest of the apartments. Because if you look at that,
Okay.
Do you see that, Ramona?
Yeah, I can see it. That's where I was thinking. I thought it was further down the road, not across the street from them. That's why I'm asking. Okay, thank you.
yeah, it's further down. Yes, that is correct, Ramona. It's further down, a little bit down the road. It's at the end of the apartments, and it looks like right at the end of the driveway, because you can actually see the driveway and they're parking in the ground.
Right.
Which, if you look at that, pull that. This is
I think he's talking about that.
Well, they park.
No,
in
no.
the
I think he may
corner,
be.
And they also park in
It's
the
just-
corner down here.
No.
Right there,
Yeah, right there.
because it's mowed.
yeah, I think it's this area right here.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like to me. Again,
That's what I thought. Okay.
But it
I've seen cars
could
parked
be
there before.
both, who knows?
Okay. The next thing is landscaping, and there's a timber on the ground. The next thing is parking, and this looks, I don't know if it's directly across the street.
Double park there. Both behind it.
Like they're
Probably
sticking
is,
out.
because there's a driveway and then grass, which is right there.
Yeah, somewhere in that area.
Yeah.
And then the last thing, or this appears to be, what is that, patio?
Somebody's landscaping around a patio, I guess.
Yeah.
I have to say those apartments can be kind of messy. No, some of them are condos, I believe.
So that, therein lies the evidence presented by the property owners through their affidavit of evidence. Okay, there's no district cross-examination. I'll go straight into my presentation here. Subject property is like the subject property owner has described at 20421. The account number, the address is 2635 Encina Drive. It is located directly across the street from the Harbor Villa apartments, and they are individualized little apartment complexes. They're not like just one big apartment complex. Meaning that they're like little fourplexes or something like that. Subject property is at a 5 FB plus. It's a 2016 construction. At that point, I think it sold for $240,000 back in 16. Currently have a valuation of $265,910. The comp sales grid indicates that the subject if you'll look at the sales that have occurred in and about that area, 2621 Encina Drive is one of the ones that the subject property owners has listed as well. Sold for $250,000. When compared with the subject, you'll look that it has a evaluation of $257,000. There's some minor differences. The land element being one, the classification of the home being two, the effective age being another portion of that, and some other small segments for giving it a value of $257,238. 2115 Harbor Court is another sale that occurred there at 301,785. Again, if you're looking at the 5 and 5FD, very similar classifications, very similar land value. Again, sold for 301. When compared with the subject property, it's a minimum value of 295,499. It's bigger than the subject, and there's a value change. There's a value decrease because of its size. Subject comp number 3 is 2713 Lakeview. Again, this is also a 5FB plus, bigger home by far. It has a large adjustment for that. Sold for 372. When adjusted to the comp, it has a valuation of 311,808. The last comp we have as far as sales, again, has an indicated value of 371. When adjusted to the comp, it has a valuation of 318. Want to point out again for the record, the only thing under protest, I pointed this out just to show the market value. The only thing under protest is appraisal ratio exceeding median level of equity. So this is the comp equity grid. Here's some other properties that are in the same classification. They're all 5s within the same neighborhood. We tried to get other properties that were similar in size, and there's modifications for the land element in those cases. You can see comp number 1 has an indicated value of 260. Comp number 2 has an indicated value of 258. Comp number 3 has an indicated value of 265,547. Comp number 4 has an indicated value of 268. Again, these are other 5s. These are not necessarily sales. They're just other 5s within that neighborhood, and how they're appraised when compared with the subject. You'll notice that there's an indicated value of 265,547. Again, there's a small warranted change just based on the equity standpoint.
Can I ask why you wouldn't have used in the equity grid, why you wouldn't have used also that 2621 Encina Drive?
2621.
From the sales,
I'm looking.
comp number 1 in the sales grid.
But we just pulled other 5s, but I mean, you can look at it there. It's presented as information on the sales grid. It gives a indicated value of 257, 238. It's very similar in size. It's different in effective years by about 15 years. That might have been one of the reasons.
But isn't it adjusted for that in the sales grid?
It is in the sales grid. That's not under protest.
No, I know, I'm just,
But yes, it's adjusted. It would have an indicated value of 257. So if you threw it into the equity grid, it would probably give you the same kind of indicated value. Attached at the end is a sales ratio report. And with the remaining of my time, I would like to entertain any questions from the ARB.
I can comment, not so much a question. I think with these comps that you have, it's really difficult because where the subject property is located directly across from those apartments on Encina, the only other comp we have on Encina is on sales grid, and it's at 257, 238. All the rest of them, like Harbor Court, Inwood, Lakeview, they don't look at those condos, which is a huge factor.
Okay.
So to me, the best comp out there is the other one on Encino, which is a 2621, which is not too far from the subject property, and that's 27238. Size wise,
Can we see where that one is located at?
it's a 2621, so it's
Like he's gonna,
Yeah, no, on the,
Yeah, it does not overlook the things as well. It does not overlook the apartments as well. It's further on down. 2621, if you just zoom out twice, it's, okay, so zoom out one more time. So the subject is like right over here somewhere. This is the area, like that green belt area. This is
right,
this is the sale.
okay, where's the
okay.
The apartments are right over here.
So it's totally away from the apartments.
they don't view the apartments.
You know, in your investigation, you can ask what these are appraised for if you want to look at those.
Which?
I didn't present it as evidence, and neither did the subject property owner. But if you want to look at what these are appraised for, I can give you that.
okay, so the subject, can we do like the two on either side of the,
One on each side?
Yeah.
20420.
Just go to summary. Yeah, there you go. 237 and go to summary. Yeah, right there. That is, it's, yeah, just go to print and just hit preview. This one is a 5 FB plus at 1536 square feet. It's 15 years older. That's at 237.
And it's 15 years older?
It's 15 years older, that's correct.
and
No, I'm
Right.
just stating the fact about the one next door.
Okay.
The 15,
Yeah.
the house next door is 15 years older and it's small.
Okay.
This
And the other one on the other side, 20422?
20422, we're looking it up right now.
like, what are you asking, Kathy?
What was the price on the one you just looked at?
237.
and change. This one's at 205. This one's a class 4 FB plus. This one actually sold. We don't have it. Don't have that one.
What is it assessed at?
It says at 205. Again, this is 14 years older, smaller, and a full class down. So 4 FB,
Yeah.
5 FB plus. So
And the other one we just did prior to this one was smaller also.
it was smaller also. This one's 16 square feet. Go back twice and
That was 1536, I believe.
1536. That's correct.
Is this one?
No, the one on the other side was 1536, 15 years older, and similar class.
And the other one's 14 years older.
Yeah, the other one's 14 years older, again, smaller, and a full class less.
So there's several good reasons why the houses on either side are less.
What's a C?
Where?
That house is a lot newer.
What did you
Because
see?
there was a 2017 on on the sales grid. On the I'm sorry.
It's okay, just wait a second. All right,
Okay.
what you got?
On the thing that you were just showing us on the homes on either side,
Mhm.
it, okay, right, stop right there. Okay, see the CRD?
You mean
Oh, those are the taxes?
CAD, that's the CAD, this is
Okay.
CRO is the city of Rockport.
Okay,
This
because
is-
when I saw that, it was like, oh, wait, are some of the things at 2017 and some at,
No, that's just the tax years in which the free, this particular thing is over 65, so it was frozen. That's another thing, I mean, it doesn't, they were frozen 17. So essentially their levy is the same as it was in 17, with the exception of the navigation district. But again, the thing under protest is equity.
When you look at equity, then there's a few $100s on a $300-400 warranted change in it.
I don't
looking
think,
at the houses that he used for the comps.
I don't think that's sufficient. Account for the fact that they
I don't either,
put up,
because I drive through there every day.
it really is.
Well, I
I'm not.
live there, so,
No, I know.
well, you said I drive through there every day. I live there.
So I have just a quick
Huh?
question.
So do I.
Yeah, well, I live around the corner from the subject property and the issue at hand, but that's not under, has not been presented as evidence. So.
The, I, what do you call it, economic deduction, or what do you call it when that?
Yeah, functionality or something. Not function.
It's called economic obsolescence.
Economic.
Yeah, there we are.
Property, you believe that there's something wrong outside of the property that limits acreage.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's what I would. That would be accurate. Consider that, yeah. And I would suggest that it's about 5%.
5%.
Okay, wait, so somebody run those numbers.
What would that bring that to?
252,610.
Is that what it is?
I could live with that.
I can live with that. 252, well, 252, 600.
Okay,
That's fine.
that's fine. Round it off.
Robert, I haven't heard from you.
So it'd be two, yeah, okay, I can agree with that.
Okay, so I make a motion based upon what we heard and saw from the affidavit on account number 20421, and taking into consideration the appraisal ratio exceeding the median level of appraisal, that for the 2020 value, we adjust the property, total property value to $252,600.
Second? All in favor?
I
Case closed.
All right, so the next
I'll be
one,
right back.
Okay,
the next
Give
one
me a
is
minute.
okay.
602.
Yeah.
Now, how do you, Rhodey? Would that be Rhodey?
That's how I pronounce it.
We just have this one more, right, as far as in our 10 o'clocks?
Yeah, then we have one
It's-
this afternoon.
So we,
This is 8:30.
Starting, I'm sorry, one at 10.
This is 8:30.
don't freak me out.
Yeah, this one's 8:30. So
So we can take a break, just like a 2-minute break
Yeah,
after
so that's
this.
good.
That is really interesting.
guys want to do the Zoom?
I don't know.
Or Zoom?
I don't know.
Okay.
So anybody at any time can walk into the appraisal district, I mean, obviously not right now, but
Yes,
you could call, okay? And I could say on 21 Bahama, 23 Bahama, 25 Bahama, I'd like to get what the 2020 appraised value.
Yes.
But the easiest way to do it is just use the website.
I think all the information.
Right. Spoken like a good appraisal district employee.
Get anything you want off the website.
Once you got the 2020s now.
You can get them now.
You
Yeah.
can, because remember last year it was,
Yeah.
okay, because I could see where for realtors, you know, because I've talked with people who are like, oh, you know, the value drastically changed, and it's because was that the toilet? Oh, that was for her. Okay. Oh my God, I can't wait to tell her.
So,
What you? Oh my God, wait, you have to show her face when I tell her, come on.
What are you telling me now?
Okay, Ramona,
So,
Mhm.
I have to tell you, you flushed twice, didn't you?
What?
You flushed twice, didn't you?
Nope. Didn't even go to the bathroom.
It said, you didn't go to the bathroom.
Nope.
Well, what is that? No, like, I'm not joking. It sounded like you flushed the toilet while you were gone.
They're mowing on the yard.
Huh?
they're mowing the
They're
yard.
mowing the yard.
All ready
Oh,
to go.
so
You
I
do
was
realize-
laughing.
you do realize this is going out over YouTube.
You know, I mean, we're not saying anything.
You got to have a sense of humor.
Oh, I'm one of those other people. Where do you see it? Oh my God, wait, no, don't.
Write something like that.
I either have to go to the bathroom or we have to quit with these kind of comments. Because I'm gonna lose.
Go ahead and wave. Yeah, there. You see your head now?
Wait, see, look, Kathy,
That's my back.
that's your, oh yeah, that is your back. But
Uh,
see, I think, it's my dog. Stop, I'm
Okay.
serious, Rusty. You have to go to the restroom. Oh my God.
Hello.
But it's, yeah, Ramona's up at the top.
All right, here we go.
Hello. Can I have your attention, please?
You have it.
2020-602, account number 25397. Here you've recorded. We are the appraisal review board that will be hearing your protest today. Seated at the table are Cindy Duck, Kathy Hoffman, Robert Dayton, myself, Charlie Powers, Ramona on by Zoom. We do not work for the appraisal district. We are appointed to perform an independent review of the protest. Protester has a right to appeal our decision. Appeal information will be provided to the protester with our determination. In accordance with tax code section 4145H, all written. The ARB members who are considering the protest have not communicated with anyone about the protest and are signing an affidavit to that effect. And I will begin with, I, Charles Powers, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 4166F.
It's at 10 o'clock. Oh, no,
Cindy,
is it, I Cindy, okay, I just want to clarify. Is this on the 8:30 or?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
8:30. 602, it's account number,
602.
yeah, it's account number
Do you
25397.
see it?
That should be
Okay.
the last one.
All right. I, Cindy Duck, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F, and I am signing to that effect.
I, Kathy Hoffman, do solemnly swear that I brought
you go into the
in violation of tax code section 41.66F.
I, Robert Date, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F.
18, okay, got it.
I, Ramona LeBlanc, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F, and I'm signing to that effect. And I'm physically located in Texas.
I, Elizabeth Garazi, am witnessing Ramona's signature via Zoom, and I am also in Texas.
All testimony from all witnesses must be given under oath. I'm assuming the protester is under oath as they sign the affidavit.
My name is, I do solemnly swear affirm the testimony I shall present to the appraisal review board for the Aransas County Appraisal District is true and correct. I'm going to read the property owner's affidavit of evidence. Signed, let's see, Aransas County Appraisal District, GOID 7396-1106, property ID 25397, Adolph Rohde. This is 11503 Military Highway 330, San Antonio, Texas. Tom, it says 1106 Sand Dollar, Key Allegro Condos, Rockport, Texas 78382. Incorrect appraised market value. The other things under protest are incorrect damage assessment rating for property qualified for a temporary disaster exemption, and other condo is a shell in condition. For the record, the things indicated on the protest form when the protester were similar, but they're not exactly the same, and I'm going to read those. The things checked at that point were incorrect appraised market value, which is the same, and then incorrect damage assessment rating for the property qualified for temporary disaster exemption, which that one is the same. But the other one that they checked is called temporary disaster damage exemption was denied or modified. So there's three things under protest, and those are the three things. Incorrect market appraised value, temporary disaster exemption was denied or modified, and then incorrect damage assessment rating for a property qualified for temporary disaster exemption.
We haven't seen those.
And then also other.
Again, that's under evidence.
Right.
That's the reason, well, it's not, that's the point. It's not other, it's those three things on the protest form.
Got it.
Continuing on with the property owner's affidavit of evidence. Evidence for 1106 Sand Dollar is a raw shell, no sheetrock. It will be finished in October and will be the very last unit finished, question mark. Section 6, I do not intend to appear at the hearing either in person or by telephone call. This affidavit and the evidence and or argument submitted with it may be used for the hearing if I do not appear at the hearing. Signed by Adolph Rohde before Margot Cantrell on this. They show on this one, it's a picture, a photo of ductwork, and they say 1106 Sand Dollar, May of 20. They show studs on the next picture. They show more studs and some tile on the floor. Looks like exterior windows. And again, this is another photo of studs, tile floor, and windows looking out to Little Bay, it appears. Okay. For clarification, I'm going to continue to read. That was the property owner's affidavit of evidence, but I'm going to read the protest form. Person age 65 or older was checked. Rohde is a property owner. Incorrect appraised market value. Temporary disaster and exemption was denied or modified. And the incorrect damage assessment rating for the property. Qualified for temporary disaster exemption. Condo is in a shell inside, no sheetrock, no electrical, nor plumbing. What do you think your property value is? $141,640. Written affidavit submitted with the ARB before the hearing begins. First class mail, Alfred Rhodey, signed in May 22nd, 2020. This is the appraised value. Notice of appraised value. That's the protest form that was delivered.
Okay, and I'm sorry, but you thought the property was worth.
141,640.
Oh, okay.
In the cross-examination time, I'd like to address the two things. Now, mind you, there's two things that the burden of proof lies on the district of the incorrect appraised market value, values not unequal compared with other properties. Anything else, it's the burden of proof for the property owner to, that there's been, something else at issue. The two other things that are there are called temporary disaster damage denied or modified. I just recently, right at the beginning of this hearing, just wanted to make sure that there was no exemption file associated with the damage rating. And then the incorrect damage rating assessment for the property was qualified for temporary disaster exemption. So there was no damage rating associated with that disaster. This is a new section of the law, and these are new protest codes associated out of the aftermath of Harvey. In Senate Bill 2, Section 11135, a portion of this was contingently enacted. It went into effect, for the record, it was enacted in the 2019 acts and the 86 legislature. So what it refers to is a percentage damage rating for a qualified disaster in a year in which that occurred. What that means is that had this law been in effect, instead of us getting Harvey codes in that year, which kind of what we did like a 95, 75, 50, 25, 0 classification. It's actually in the code here. And I'm going to read the section of the code 1135. Subject to subsection 1, the amount of the exemption authorized by the section for the item qualified is determined by multiplying the appraised value determined for the tax year in which the disaster occurred of the property by, and it says 1% or level 1 damage, 30% if the property is assigned a level 2 damage, 60% if the property is assigned a level 3 damage, and 100% if the property is assigned a level 4 damage assessment rate. But what's important is that section that I read, subject to section 1, the amount of the exemption is authorized by the section for an item qualified for the property is determined by multiplying the appraised value determined the tax year in which the disaster occurred. For the record, the only disaster that's been declared subsequent to the Harvey disaster in 17, which that's a 17 valuation, the only other disaster that's declared for the 2020 years is a COVID disaster for the counties in question. All the counties in Texas, the governor declared a disaster. There's recent AG opinions. I don't have that information with me, but there's recent AG opinions. And again, the burden of proof is on the property owner to provide that first and foremost that I denied an exemption. I'm saying under oath, I've made a search in the account that I don't see an exemption being asked for. Secondly, there's recent information from an AG opinion that says that it's not a disaster as in the code because the disaster damage rating has to do with an improvement value of like a natural disaster such as a hurricane or wind or water, not a pandemic, which is the disaster that was declared in 2020.
But we didn't even on January 1st, it hadn't been declared yet.
That's
We
correct.
didn't, it was out there, But we didn't know because it wasn't to that degree in the States.
Right,
So next year's when that one,
Plus, it wouldn't affect anything in building.
right.
It have to do with
It has to,
health
yeah.
issues, work.
There's a recent opinion, so this has to do, it's my best assessment or my best understanding of the facts that this law, and there's a opinion out there, the way it was written, has to do with damage of a natural disaster such as a hurricane. And it has a specific rating instead of like what we did in Harvey codes, it said level 1, 2, 3, or 4. And here's what you give it, like it's a quick and
Was that written prior?
what year did that law, you said this is new?
this came into effect
2018.
2019. So just this
Oh.
last,
Prior to Harvey, this was written after.
this was written as a result of Harvey, I think, in my
So
opinion.
it pertained to.
And
had
was-
been a Harvey.
Was there anything that said,
Retroactive.
because all the new laws are from that point forward. So
That's-
is this one a retro or?
Not to my knowledge, but that's the reason I read the section that says, subject to section I, the amount of exemption authorized by this section is an item for a qualified property determined by multiplying the appraised value determined for the tax year in which the disaster occurred of the property by. So again, not having this person in front of me to ask, which disaster are you talking about? Are you talking about the declared disaster for COVID or declared disaster for Hurricane Harvey? Let's say, again, we'll run through all the traps, but if it were Hurricane Harvey, what is the year in which the disaster occurred? 2017. This law would apply, like if this law was in effect at that point, this would be an exemption that would qualify for a number of properties in 2017, not 2020. So then
Right.
that track. So now if it's a COVID question,
But it doesn't matter.
if it's a COVID question, there's recent, again, to my best knowledge, there's recent information that AG opinion says that this would not qualify because the disaster rating is specifically tied to the damage associated with the event.
They're talking physical damage.
Yeah.
They're not.
Right.
perceived.
So if we had a hurricane, that would apply.
Right, and it actually talks about structural damage, that the appropriate damage assessment rating by the chief appraiser will rely on this information by a county emergency authority. Level 1 damage rating of the property at least 15%, but less than 30% damage, meaning that the property suffered minimal damage and may continue to be used as intended. Level 2, the damage suffered minimal damage, but at least 30%, but less than 60% damage for the qualified property, means that the property suffered only non-structural damage, including non-structural damage to roof walls, foundation, mechanical components, and water line, if any less than 18 inches above the floor. This is talking about the physical characteristics, and that's the reason the AG opinion.
If we had to guess, I think he's referring to structural damage.
Right.
I get it.
Again, what's important is that damage occurred in 17.
That wasn't even written till 19.
Right. Having said that, I wanted to use my cross-examination time, and I've probably exceeded the 2 minutes, so I'll try to keep it brief for my district presentation. I wanted to bring that to light. It's a burden of proof on the property owner. I will tell you that I have not had a person file an exemption.
We've never seen this before.
Yeah, you've never seen something like this. But you may in the future if we had another hurricane.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want another hurricane.
Oh, please.
Okay,
It'll be this year, y'all.
Stop.
Hey,
They're
what
just-
else could go wrong? Hey.
district presentation, I'm gonna go into my presentation.
Let me ask you a question. before
Sure.
we do that, just to see where we're headed here. Are you going to make the case that this is value as it stands, or that it is damaged?
I'm about to present my evidence and we'll reveal what level of damage,
Okay.
or what level of completeness the subject property is in its repair state.
Okay.
Do you have our grand book? Yeah, okay.
Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and present my evidence. The subject property is 25397. It's not currently listed. The 2019 value was an ARB decision in
2019?
In 2019, the 141,640. Subject property overlooks Little Bay. It's a Key Allegro condominium. It has a 52% completeness. I think that's maybe talking to your issue. The valuation that we have at 196,950 represents 52% complete. So we, like the subject property owner, agree that it's the studs. We agree that the 52% would represent on January 1st the percent completeness associated with the subject property.
And that's one of the, is that using the Hurricane Harvey codes?
No, it's a percent completeness of a rebuild. So Hurricane Harvey codes have already been pulled out everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Nobody has a Hurricane Harvey code.
They have it historically in the system,
Right.
but it's not active.
Okay.
It's a property group code rather than a value modifier. If that
Okay.
makes sense. What is value modified is the percent completeness if people are still building back. That is this situation. These people are building back. We're affirming that they're building back. We only have 52% completeness on the subject property. Currently has a value of 196,950. The comps that we used associated with this on our sales grid, it's really, the comps that we have on the sales grid have an indicated value of 213,732. The sales that you had in 2018, let's see, I have comps 1, 2, 3, and just 3. The comps that we have are at 809 sand dollar, 911 sand dollar, and then another one at 801 sand dollar. This one is at 1106 sand dollar. Now, when you're looking at those sales, you immediately on the surface would say, well, wait a second, the value of the subject is 196, these sold for 135. But the location is important. The location of this is very important when considering those other sales. Looking at those other sales are, we can look at them on the pictometry, and I have pictometry imagery actually
Thank
my
you. I
second-
was going to ask for that.
on my second page here. 25307 or 25370, I'm sorry. 25370. Let me pull that one up.
Okay, see the blue square? That's where,
So this is the subject property
Right.
right here. Right here.
It's down towards the end.
25307, if you just plug it in. Sorry, 25370.
okay, so it doesn't look out to the bay.
So this
on the
is
back.
a superior, in our opinion, this is a much superior view. These are superior condos, these right in here. This sale is right up here. So it's important as we go through these that, I mean, it's the point that I want to make definitely is that those are different in that from that standpoint. And therefore,
What your property is and all down.
that's correct.
This is kind of your comps are all flats.
That's correct. It's a, 2 of them are on the second floor and one's the first
Yes.
floor.
Is this the same building that we had a
Or complex.
complex that we had a case on last week?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So again, the sales indicate when adjusted for that location and the size, you'll notice the size difference is the subject is much bigger. It's got 1,402 square feet rather than 1,050 square feet. When you look at all those differences, the indicated values are 190, 213, and 215 respectively. The median indicated value has a value of 213. So that
Are they sold?
These are incomplete because they're two of 18, 8 of 18, and 5 of 18.
Okay.
More, maybe.
I don't know in this unit.
I haven't presented evidence to that degree. I think that last year we had a lot of these cases.
But there's this bill, I can tell you that whole section where this building is located, and particularly this, the last ones to be done, they are a little bit after this other building. And long time ago, and I've indicated 18 and 19 may not have been totally completed, but they were way more completed than these units are.
Again, these are cells not from not last year. They're not last year's cells. They're not
I
19.
know, but what
They're
I'm
in
saying-
18 cells. They're 2 years ago.
I know.
Our best information is those are not complete. They were not complete at that time. I can go, I mean, I didn't present that in my evidence.
Completed, but I said they were probably over complete.
I can, in any kind of effort
I don't know if
to,
it makes so much difference, I'm just making that statement.
yeah, in any kind of effort, if you want me to go into whatever we can find on these 3 comps.
No, I don't know.
Okay.
Well, I mean, but we can't, I mean, we're able to go look at one of the comps and see if it has a higher completeness. So that will answer what you're bringing up.
No, that would not be the case. You would have to look at the percent completeness in the year in which the sale occurred.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the key.
Yeah.
Would you like to
Right.
look at one of these?
One.
Okay.
Let's look at 25384.
2, 5,
That
3.
would be a year after the hurricane roughly.
2, 5, 3, 8.
Yeah, that might not be completed.
2, 5, 3, 8, 4. We're looking for evaluation in 18.
Yes, yes.
Do you see where 25384 is?
No, but I know it's not I know it's not in the same place this is.
Across the parking lot.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, back then it probably was.
So in 28, he had a Harvey code of 25. So it was only 25% complete or 75% damage. You can go to
and
20.
it's over.
2019, and we probably have a percent completeness because the sale occurred in August of 18.
Yeah.
And again, this is not information that I presented, but this is information that you want to know for reference.
Correct.
19 valuation sold for, how much did it sell for?
153.
Sold for 153. We had a 55% completeness at that point. Okay,
Last year.
so again,
And what value did you have on
we
it?
only had 135 on it at the time. Sold for 153.
That was January at 135, so that would make sense. Okay.
Again, the only thing under protest is incorrect appraised market value, and then the other items we've previously discussed. I'm not aware of any exemption. We ran through the traps of the COVID pandemic and the year of the disaster in which the exemption for the law in which was presented would take effect, and that was not in effect at that time. We're not talking about evaluation in 17, we're talking about evaluation in 2020.
Okay, so again, are we to us now?
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
answer any questions that
Okay, so I'm curious, okay, so in 2019, the appraisal review board made a decision on this property, and that's that 141,640, right?
I believe that's correct.
Because it was a 2019 decision.
I believe that's correct. We can look at that.
Is that making sense, Dawn? Is it being proved in what you're looking at?
I wasn't listening to you.
Okay, so this, let me go to,
Where did we change it from? That's what I'm curious about.
go to ARB inquiry
And what have we lowered?
You can
and go
ask
to
them that.
19.
We must have lowered it to 141 from something.
I would think so.
Go, it looks like we had a value at that time. Let's see, the value that was agreed, the value that was determined by the ARB was 141,640.
And what was on it?
What was it? Assess that we lowered it from
205 and change, 205,680.
205.
Okay, so then my next question is on hurricane code or on appraisal review board decisions, are those typically 2 years?
Unless you have, unless something's, we have values that we had that we thought were relevant. We had market values that were relevant.
And we put 50, we said it was how much complete in 2019.
I don't think you did. I think you just gave it that. But you, I mean, the only thing other that you could look at is the information that was presented at that time. Again, if you're trying to investigate, that's all fine and good. This is not information that the property owner presented. This is not information that the district is presented.
When you say it's.
No, we're just wanting to understand. But I
Okay,
have my own opinion on this.
okay.
What's your opinion, Ramona?
Let's go into the,
I think we should leave it as it is.
Okay. All right, but Kathy asked,
okay.
what did you ask? Oh.
Ray, would you show the
He's looking
decision?
it up. That we should leave alone.
Okay, just pull it up so you can see.
Where it is.
This is the information associated with the 2019 valuation. You can see that this is when it was ruled on, the 19th of 19, 7/19 of 19. Conduits under repairs, open elements with no expected completion November of 19. Incorrect market appraised value was approved by the ARB. If you go into values right there, you see that it was 205 at that time, and it's 141 is what the ARB decided that day.
Well, I think we did the test on it. I don't know. I can't prove that, but we probably, because we were always doing the test before we did values on all
That was
those.
a big reduction.
You could look at images to see what was presented by both parties.
But you could see that like right now, the windows actually aren't there because you
Right.
saw tree limb coming into the building. No, I'm saying.
This had 55% complete. We had 205 at the time. This was the information presented this year.
55%?
We had 55 last year. It's actually
I
gone down
think
to
we probably
52.
ran the sheet.
I think we did.
I think we ran the construction sheet.
Well, 55
Remember,
to,
it's a dried in number.
well, 55 to 52, that's the only difference between last year and this year. I mean,
But it's not,
Yeah, but it's a big difference.
it doesn't look like they've done anything.
We're also looking,
Those buildings, that building has had very little, if anything, come to it, other than the fact that it has a new roof.
No, the pictures look very much the same.
they're also the pictures from last year's evidence.
Yes.
Just making sure y'all
Pretty
know.
much, that's all they've done.
You're saying there's 52%
This year.
baked into this number.
yes, that's correct.
You said it was 55% before?
No,
Yeah.
I said.
no.
I,
He said it was 55% complete last year, and that's where they had the 205. We don't know, I mean, I guess if we keep searching, but whatever number we came up with, clearly it was lower because we took it down to 143. But
141.
they had put the 55% complete number on there. So,
Well, if it's 55 and 52, why wouldn't it still be around 141, 640?
Because the ARB ruled that year without, I mean, I don't know why you went, I don't know why we could.
I think we used the sheet, the construction.
Maybe you said that, maybe the ARB said that it was less percentage than what we said.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, because that's what we did I mean, I don't know. I don't remember this specifically. I just know every single one of them to be consistent, that once we started using that sheet, we had to use it on every one. So,
Can't we use the sheet again and see what we come up with?
well, I feel discouraged.
I don't feel that there's enough photographs from the protest to warrant going through that. If you look at his photos, I mean, he does have a few, but I mean, honestly, I just feel like the 195 should stay, or 196.
The one thing,
Is Ramona,
Yeah,
section 5 of his taxpayer evidence affidavit.
section 345.
As of one,
Uh-huh.
as of 1/1/2020, the interior was wood studs with no interior sheetrock, electrical, plumbing, or HVAC.
I see it.
That's what would have led us to a 55.
and here it
Sure.
explains what the problem, okay, this explains what the problem was, why this one has been the last one, is the bulkhead was repaired about March 2020, okay? The slab was everything, it makes sense. They weren't fixing the slab and then doing work on up from that, because the bulkhead, it was in serious disrepair.
They had to totally redo that entire bulkhead on that whole side. It's the worst.
And then it says in May 2020, some interior work such as electrical.
Why did this go up if it hasn't been 2 years, is what I'd like to know again.
Why what?
Hang on, just.
Why did this go up when it was ruled on last year?
Wait a minute.
Hang on, just for the record, and I didn't see this until just now. I have a written property owner's affidavit of evidence, and then I have another scanned property owner's affidavit of evidence. And they're two different dates. One is May 27th of 2020 that was received, and this one is June 18th. It's handwritten. I think it's important that I read this because they're different. Statement 5 actually says.
Do we have it not?
Yeah, it's in the thing. I read the one in front of me. Normally we don't have two. And so in an abundance of caution, I want to read both so that.
Oh, no, absolutely.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Until will not be completed. I'm just reading. Unit will not be completed until August 2020. As of 1/12/2020, the interior was
1/1/2020.
Okay, 1/1/2020. The interior wood studs with no interior sheetrock, electrical, plumbing, HVAC. This unit will be the last unit completed in the Kidlover condos. The bulkhead was repaired and now slab can be leveled. In May of 2020, some interior work, such as electrical and ducting, commenced.
That wasn't until May. So this unit has been sitting there certainly since we did our thing the last time. And
Well,
with nothing done to it.
you can do your little worksheet if you wish to go through foundation, roof.
But we already did that.
No, not this year. You haven't. You can't. You did something last year. You
But
made it.
we're saying it hasn't changed since.
I want to know, why did it go up from last year when it should be 2 years? Why are we looking at this?
Because the elements, we said it was 55, you said it was something less last year.
Right.
Neither one of us can say what that number is because it's not in the, We don't.
But if we ruled on it,
You ruled on it for a percent completeness at some percent completeness. You should do the same this year and run. He is giving you evidence that says no interior should just run. All I'm asking is you run those numbers. You run this percent completeness.
But why? He also said that nothing was done until May of 2020. So why run back through it?
He is giving you evidence that says the percent interior completeness has no sheetrock, no electrical, no plumbing, no HVAC.
I know, but my question still didn't get answered.
My only question is that ruling, whatever is in, according to this, and whatever you ruled on last year could have been different, because I can't say what he said was complete, or how much it was damaged, or how much you took into effect the bulkhead in front of the thing. I have no idea.
Let's just go ahead and do it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's all. I mean, at the very least, just run through the.
And that needs to be at the January 1st.
That's correct.
For January 2020 condition, not what it is today.
That is correct. January 1st.
Okay.
Wood
and
studs on.
Ramona, what did you say?
I still want to know, why is it changed when we ruled on it last year?
Because in Ramona, in our position, from the district's position, elements have changed from the valuation associated with the percentage complete that the ARB said it was last year. Because if you're looking at the last year's valuation and you went through some calculation, okay, we're saying that it's more so this year. He's saying that these are the elements. Just run through the calculations, and because we're saying it's 52% complete right now.
I remember this unit.
I'm sorry?
I seem to remember this thing, this one.
Yeah, actually now I am.
And at some point in the past, the ARB said it's less than 52%. Okay, fine. We're saying that those two things are different, and that's the reason that we did not hold an ARB position for 2 years.
Charlie, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
How much?
Foundation,
Yes, how
However,
much percentage?
10%, but it's not
Foundation.
level.
But it doesn't say that it's
Just
been
said they
fixed.
just were able to level the foundation.
They just in May of 2020. So
No,
as of
we gotta give it
January,
back.
Started some in May of 2020, some interior work such as electrical and ducting commenced. So
on January of 2020, it still did not, that wasn't,
it had wood studs and no interior sheetrock, electrical, plumbing, or HVAC.
Right, I'm gonna run through.
But it doesn't say
It says the,
bulkhead has repaired as of March, and now there's, okay.
The foundation.
But it doesn't tell how bad the bulk, I mean, I don't know. Geez, I don't know.
no, and it says the bulkhead was repaired
It's,
you
of
want,
20.
let's just go through it. There's no sheetrock, there's no electrical, there's no plumbing, there's no HVAC.
if you want me to go through this, I'll go through it one line at a time.
Okay, so the first one, I don't think we fit that.
Foundation. Half score because it needs to be leveled. It's not repaired yet.
So you gave half on that one, so it's 5%?
Yeah.
Okay, continue.
Framing, 17%.
Okay,
Roof
good.
sheathing, 2%. Roofing complete, 2%. Exterior wall finish, 1%. Plumbing topped out. Can't see plumbing in this one. We'll give it 2%. Electrical roughed in.
Can we go to,
No,
Let me look at the
Says
picture.
no sheet.
can we go to the photos, please?
And shows
oh, I see some electrical in there.
Yes,
Some
we
electrical, so electrical roughed in 2%.
Wait. Does roughed in
do.
mean?
Yes, it's not finished out. It means it doesn't have light switches, but it has lines.
There's wires in the wall.
Okay,
So was
There's
that,
wires in the wall. Windows and exterior doors. Now, can you tell from this picture, the doors are there? You were pointing out.
no,
there
and
was
the branch, you can see
A
the
branch.
branch on the tree coming in through the window. So clearly, it's not there.
No windows or doors.
Which,
Page
okay,
Picture number
4
2,
5.
picture number 2 shows a green thing coming through the window.
Yeah, but there's no glass on there.
Right, we're all, I think we're agreeing.
And there's no doors because there's French doors and there were no French.
All right, so that one's not there.
there's 0.
Insulation is not there. Heating and air conditioning roughed in, not according to these pictures on 120.
Okay.
That ductwork looks like
No, it's
crumpled
just,
aluminum foil.
Well, yeah, but I would say that that's roughed in.
I would
Exterior,
not.
Which,
it's just a chunk up there. It's not, it doesn't even go anywhere.
you're talking about the AC roughed in?
Yeah,
I don't think it's roughed in.
That's what roughed in means. It means it's entering the space. It's not complete for sure.
okay, we'll
It's
get,
not,
we'll get
Two, that's for the insulation, I mean, for the,
heating and AC roughed in.
huh?
Exterior finish.
yeah, it's right
I don't
there.
think the exterior's finished.
I respectfully disagree.
It
You
is,
don't think it's painted?
I think it's, the exterior is watertight with the exception of the windows.
yeah, I give it 14. Sheet rock, no. Doors, trim,
No.
no. Painting, no. Everything else is no from there on. Fixtures and completion, range, shower and mirrors, linoleum, plumbing fixtures, electrical complete, carpet, hardware, blah, blah, blah. What do you got?
Okay, so I want to go over the list again just to make sure I got it right. I got foundation at 5, framing at 17, sheeting at 2, roofing complete at 2, something at 1. What was the 1%?
Exterior wall finish,
Exterior wall is 1. Something else at 2.
plumbing topped out,
Okay. And then what's the next 2?
electrical roughed in,
Okay. And you said 2 right there, right?
yes. Windows and exterior doors, 0.
Yeah, I've got 0, 0 there. And HVAC you gave half at 2.
No, 2% is roughed in.
So are you doing 1?
No.
You're doing 2 or 0?
2,
Okay.
and then exterior finish,
14.
14. And that's it.
All right.
The rest is all.
So 5 plus 17 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 14. That equals 47%. Is that what you got?
Yes.
5, but I was.
Is that what you got, Ramona?
Yes, I got 47.
Want to go to 47? I mean,
What was sheet? I just don't know what sheeting is.
sheathing is the underlayment associated with the roof. So that white stuff, it's a thicker thing now, but it's the it used to be like you
Oh,
had
okay, the
plywood,
plywood.
and then you had the cover, usually Tyvek or some other material now.
The roofs are done.
Yeah.
That number, Charlie, is 184230.
184230.
The percent completed 47. Can you show them on the screen so that?
Sure.
I could live with that.
I'm good with that.
There's the 47
Yeah,
guys
I
right
think
there.
that's-
Yep.
47%.
What is it?
184230.
That's
There
the
you go.
summary page. The summary for everything would be 184. Is that right, Ray?
184230. That's at 47% complete.
Let's
I like that.
go over that.
Are you good with that? Are you good with that? Okay, I make a motion on account,
Bless you.
Gesundheit, on account number 25397. Based upon the evidence presented by the property owner and by the appraisal district, these 3 things that are listed on this sheet, these were the 3 that were on the protest.
really only considering one.
No, it doesn't matter.
No, you list them all three.
If these three were on the protest
The
form,
protest form had incorrect
Q1.
appraised market value,
okay,
temporary disaster exemption was denied or modified, or incorrect damage assessment for the property qualified for temporary disaster.
Yes.
You correct appraised market value, 184,230. The temporary disaster exemption does not apply, and therefore the damage assessment does not apply. There's
Okay,
three different
so-
measures.
okay, all right, so on property 25397, on what we've heard from the property owner and from the appraisal district, considering the incorrect appraised market value, I make a motion that we adjust the 2020 value to $184,200.
230.
I thought we took it down to the hundreds,
10.
to the 10. Okay, so 230.
Second. In favor? Aye.
Okay, then also on account number 25397, taking into consideration the temporary disaster damage exemption appraisal and the which is Q13 and Q14, which is the incorrect damage assessment rating. I believe that neither one of those apply here. So we are not changing anything based upon those two.
Second.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Case closed.
Yep. And Mike, you may take one? There's just one more.
Yeah. If anybody wants to take a breather, it's just an affidavit. The county's investigating.
It's not a phone?
Nobody's called in. It's just an affidavit, right?
Okay.
We're down to 15 minutes, Ramona.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Ramona,
Yeah,
just speaking in generalities here, when you guys make a decision on
Yep.
something, an ARB decision, but there's
right.
construction going on, either in a condo or on a house or whatever,
Uh-huh.
typically we're gonna not leave it for the second year.
Okay.
It's gonna,
That's what I was trying to ask and nobody would answer me.
I know that's typically what we're gonna do unless we had like real specific hard, fast evidence, like the contractor was fired and they didn't work on it for a year. Like if we knew something like that, then we would.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
So we don't have anything this afternoon and we don't have anything tomorrow? No.
Did you see that ours raised by 3 now? 3 more.
What's that?
So the cases of whatever. There was a
I'm
lunch
gonna do this
person,
one.
a food service person
Do I need to do
who
this?
got it.
affidavit?
There were the 2
Oh,
female
COVID.
co- Yes, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, I was thinking of these cases.
No,
It wasn't making sense.
Who protested at lunch? No.
None of it was computing.
I was sitting in the restaurant at the table and they came up and that. But so there was a person who did the meals, the ones that they've been handing out.
Yeah.
In Rockport, from our
Did you hear that,
school.
Beth?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know, and you know.
Yeah, my
what
mom was all mad because they had to cancel them.
I'm telling you what I immediately, well, they were getting ready to end anyway this
Yeah,
week.
that's why I told her.
They just quit a day or 2 days early.
Yeah.
But then I thought about, oh my God, we ate that food that was in that room. And what day did you get that? It was like,
Uh-huh.
cause the last day she was there was last Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yes,
I thought nobody in Rockport has to come down.
No, it's 3 cases, 3.
3 new cases from yesterday. Yes. No,
Sit and put a put a travel ban on people. Was it Center Mathis?
There's a couple of them that did that.
They did a travel ban to San Antonio. Like you cannot travel to San Antonio.
Pretty
You
much,
go to
yeah.
San
If
Antonio,
you go, you're
but
not coming back.
You can't. I think it's Center Mathis. What is that? What
well,
you
and
read?
Alice,
Yeah, it was
I know
something.
Alice.
Maybe it was Alice.
That's
Alice is because the sisters are in Alice, or they're
Alice.
from
That's
there.
where it was. It wasn't Mathis. It was Alice. That's
Wait a
where.
minute, how many cases are?
13.
He knows all these things.
Because
I don't know that she needs to know all these things.
Yes, I do, Mike.
But she knows all
I
these
didn't know
things.
there were any.
Yes.
Where did they all come from?
Well, some of them were nursing homes.
Where's the 10 o'clock?
I grabbed it. You
Oh.
can take it?
Yeah, I like to read from it.
Yeah, I said I would do it. Do you want to do it?
The school had 2 female
Okay, I thought we just,
Mike,
I
You're
missed
asking me if I wanted to take a little break.
said I will do this one.
Oh, yeah. Knock yourself out.
Mike, 2 of them were female coaches. Huh?
No, you gotta be in the video.
At
It's
the-
an
At
affidavit.
the school, because they've been giving out free lunch.
All right.
There's
ready to-
somebody in town is actually kind of sick. There's like someone that has it and they're like laid up. They're not in the hospital, but
Well,
Well,
Shivey supposedly.
they're all like connected to that family. It's everybody that hangs around with them. Yeah, there's like this big.
Which, your daughter probably.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, just a local
I don't want to,
family.
because it's.
They're associated with A&M and stuff.
Okay,
I'll write it down.
you got it?
Yeah, we're good.
I don't want to because it's on live.
Where'd Mike go?
I got it.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm making a break.
okay.
Yes,
We're opening a hearing on protest number 2020-768, account number 67046. This hearing is being recorded. We are the appraisal review board that will be hearing your protest today. Present at the table are Cindy Duck, Kathy Hoffman, Robert Dayton, and myself, Charlie Powers. Ramona LeBlanc is with us via Zoom. We do not work for the appraisal. You're appointed to perform an independent review of the protest. Protester has the right to appeal our decision. Appeal information will be provided to the protester with our determination. In accordance with tax code section 4145H, all written material is assumed to have been provided with the affidavit. The ARB members who are considering the protest have not communicated with anyone about the protest and are signing affidavits to that effect. I will begin with I, Charles Powers, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F.
Oh, I, Cindy Duck, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 4166F, and I have signed to that effect.
Do solemnly swear that I have not communicated, with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66.
I, Robert Dayton, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F.
I, Ramona LeBlanc, do solemnly swear that I have not communicated with another person in violation of tax code section 41.66F, and I'm signing to that effect. And I'm physically located in Texas.
I, Elizabeth Piccarazzi, am witnessing Ramona's signature. I am also in Texas.
All testimony from all witnesses must be given under oath. I'm assuming the protester is under oath as they signed the affidavit. District Representative.
I, Ray Presley, do solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony I shall present to the Appraisal Review Board for the Aransas County Appraisal District is true and correct.
District Representative will now read the affidavit into the record.
Okay. I'm gonna start real quick with the protest that was sent in. AJ's Tire Shop is the owner, and the box checked on the protest is incorrect appraised market value. And then also checked is other, with the explanation other market value of improvements. Section 4 provide facts that may help. There was absolutely no improvements to the structure, buildings, etc. Minimal damage from Hurricane Harvey. Did not submit an insurance claim. Then they checked a telephone conference and so on. All right. Property owner's affidavit of evidence is, this is 132 Treasure Street. So that everybody gets the frame of reference on this. I'm gonna put it up on Picto. This is right here. This is Captain's Bay. All these little, this area right here. And your frame of reference would be if you head down Mesquite or Chaparral. This is Boat Inn. And you're gonna move it to 35 if you keep going this way.
That's where it's got that concrete road. So it's
Yeah.
like,
That's correct. That's correct. That is correct. So 35 is right here. All right. On the affidavit, they have different boxes checked. They have incorrect appraised market value, and they have value is unequally or unequal compared with other properties. So the difference here is that two different, on one they checked the equity portion and one they did not check the equity portion, but on the protest that they sent in, they have an other checked for market value of improvements. So go down to section 5, the statement of facts. No new improvements inside nor outside to structure, building, etc. Minimal damage from Hurricane Harvey. Few 3-tab shingles were blown off and fence was blown over. Replace the few shingles that were blown off and put fence back into place. There was no water damage in the home. No insurance claim was submitted. House has a standard garage door, unlike most houses in Captain's Bay that have a 12-foot or higher garage door. House exterior has not been repainted. Exterior paint is the original from when the house was built. Section 6 is just the check mark for, that they would want to do a telephone conference call for the hearing. And then it's signed Jesse Arenas Jr., notarized by Rebecca Casanova. That's all on June the 12th of 20.
Not showing up my phone now.
That is correct. So the time passed plus their, what is it, a 15-minute window where they could have called in, passed, and no phone call was made. But this stuff was submitted, so we have an affidavit to go off of. And that concludes their evidence. So I will move on to the district evidence. And I will present the equity portion. It's not checked on the protest, and I'll talk briefly about the market value of improvements that they checked as other on their protest. We'll talk about that for a second. But just getting started here, this is, like we said, this is 132 Treasure Street, the Captain's Bay Estates subdivision. We have a value of $171,730. If you go to and look at this sales comparison, 123 Treasure Street sold. Oh, wait, this one's not in order. Okay, here we go. Gotcha. All right, so give me a second, guys.
115 Treasure Street.
Yeah, the printout that I have here doesn't have, they didn't print it all out. So let me go on to our evidence. They skipped some pages. All right, sales comparison. 115 Treasure sold December of 2019 for $162,750. 133 Breezy sold for $165. Both of these are, one's a little bit smaller, one's a little bit larger, but really it's nominal. Same class of home. All these should be the same class of home. They're all going to be real close. Comp number 3 is 123 Treasure. Comp number 4 is 103 Pecan Harbor. It's actually a little bit larger, enough to really make a difference. It sold for $199. The one comp number 3 there on Treasure, 123 Treasure, sold for $208. The median value, when you go from a sales comparison approach, says the value of 132 Treasure Street should be $178,511. That's when you compare to other properties on main market. Now, compare this house to other people in Captain's Bay that are not sales, but are the same class and at least pretty close in size. They're all going to be nearly built on the same, within 5 years of each other. The median equity value is $172,562, which is a little bit over what our market value is. There's a lot of congruency in here. One of the things you'll notice is the net adjustment. Like if you look at comp number 1, the net adjustment is $5,000. Comp number 2, the net adjustment is $3,000. It just means there's very little that you have to change to compare them. They are so similar that they just match up real well. And then comp number 3 has a net adjustment of $7,000. Smaller, so it had to be pushed upwards a little bit. Again, the value is $172,562. This sales ratio report that follows is for all of Fulton outlots, which is essentially that whole side of 35 there that's not in the Fulton East, but the Fulton West. But the reality is we could have just run a sales ratio report just for Captain's Bay. Lots of transactions happen in Captain's Bay, but our average mean on this west side of 35 is 99%. I want to say that on his protest, where he checked market value of improvements, it's possible that one of the things that he is unhappy with is that the improvement value went up. The land value stayed the same, but the improvement value went up, and we confirm that the improvement value went up. We confirm that it would have went up whether or not he painted it or did anything to it. We raised the improvement value in Captain's Bay on every single house in the neighborhood. Due to sales, it was a market change. So everybody in Captain's Bay's improvements went up. That it's a high sales area. The sales that happen in there are continually marching upward, trying to find their peak, and they haven't got there yet.
Can you show us again on that where
Sure.
okay, so the highway.
Okay, look at it like this.
Oh, there's the hub.
This is the highway, right here.
Turn the light off.
Sure. And this building, this another frame of reference for you. Whoops, sorry. Is this right here? This is the Hampton Inn.
Yes.
You got the Hampton Inn, and this is Dr. Mercer's office, right? The vet. If you go down Mesquite and the next road up Chaparral, and you're essentially heading towards Spanish Woods. Really, you can't get there from this way, but that's really the direction you're going. And you'll notice that as you go down these two roads, that's a boat in. And then like before the town was built, it seems like. And there's Captain's Bay. And believe it or not, that is Spanish Woods right there.
Okay, so the Treasure isn't the last street, it's the next to last street.
Pecan Harbor is the last street. Right. Treasure's right there. That's Captain's Bay. It's a little cul-de-sac road, and then Breezy and what's that? Sun Harbor, I believe. Yeah.
Because one of those corners around where you can.
They all go all the way through with the exception of this road right here.
Got it.
They're pass through
The
roads.
main road still, what is the main road there?
Mesquite and
Mesquite or
Chaparral.
Chaparral. Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Either one of these roads. Yeah. They're kind of all the same.
Yeah.
You know, the owner did point out the difference. If y'all remember, he said, "Hey, my garage isn't as high as other people's."
Yeah.
That's because there are some designs in there where they did make a higher garage, and the purpose for that is so that you can get your boat in. So there is,
Or RV.
yeah, there's some different ideas, but the reality is we have everything classed in there as a 4FB plus. They're all the same class. They're all the same land value.
Every single one of them in that Captain's Bay deal, all of those that we're looking at,
Mhm.
they're all 4FBs.
Yeah, they're essentially the same house, plus or minus 200 square feet, by design. That's it. They're just, designed.
Cookie cutter houses.
Yeah, it's designed that way. They sell really well. It's a good idea. And honestly, they're successful. I mean,
No, this is very.
yeah, it's very successful. And the problem is the price goes up. People keep buying it for more than you would think. And so it's frustrating for people. But we supported it. Our value supported sales, our value supported equity. And we, in some ways, we're in concert with them when they say, hey, the market value of the improvements, and they check what's the deal with that. The deal is stuff sells. Whether you paint it or do anything to it, stuff sells. And so that's it. So
And the last road is Pecan Bay.
Pecan Harbor,
And
correct.
And how many houses on that street were used in your?
I think one. In the sales approach, if I remember correctly, there was one. There's a Treasure in sales. There's a Breezy in sales. There's a Treasure, and then there's a Pecan Harbor. So even in this, when you think about sell activity, this right here, this house is on Treasure. Our comps are 2 houses on his road, which is, it's a big deal. You don't, it's really not that many houses.
What's a VR and a UVR as far as sales type?
A VR is verified and a UVR is unverified. We developed something called the percent of list, which we believe that a house sells for average in this county at 93% of list. In this little neighborhood right here, it's probably higher. But to create an average, you have highers and lowers, and you meet in the middle, right? So when you have something real congruent like this, or an Al Hogan neighborhood, stuff sells at probably closer to 100% of list, because they've learned how to market them so well that people really know how to price them.
Okay.
All right.
I have a question.
Sure.
On your comps, sales comps, this house is assessed at 178. On Treasure Street is smaller, and it's assessed at 171.
Which house is assessed at 178?
115 Treasure Street.
It's at 159.
Wait, are you looking at the sales grid, comp sales?
Yeah, it's
No.
115, right? 115 Treasure.
Yeah.
Market value is right there, 159,370.
Where do you see what? I'm losing my mind. Oh,
Look up at
okay.
I
the,
see 162.
I see it. I'm
Look at-
sorry.
Oh, I see it. 159,370 market value.
Next house is 161,624, and it's a little bit bigger.
161, which comp is that?
That's the second one, the second column.
Okay, but the market value,
No, the second comp market value is 176.
650.
gotta look at the same line, Kathy. Wait here, look.
Yeah,
Oh, you're looking at the bottom, you're looking at the adjusted indicated value.
I'm looking at the Justin.
Yeah, that's once we have compared, that's once our software actually has made pluses and minuses for differences.
Right.
The market value is what
Oh,
sales upheld,
Okay,
is that?
yeah, I see what you're saying. Let me stand up there real quick, Cindy.
This is a new line or something, I don't know.
I can answer. I know what you're getting at. It's a good point. It's interesting that you found it. So what she's saying is that this indicated value is 161. This indicated value is 171. They're both the same class, but this one's bigger. So why is this number lower?
Right.
There's an answer for it. It's not calculating off of what we say it's worth. It's calculating, this is a sales grid, so it's calculating off of what someone purchased it for. So this is actually a sale where someone purchased a house in this neighborhood for less than we think it's worth, for whatever reason.
But I thought the
So
sales
it's-
grid was based on sales.
It is, that's exactly what I'm saying, is it's calculating these things and subtracting them not from this, that's equity. It's subtracting them from this, which is a sales number. That's how it arrives at a indicated sell price if this house was just like this house. And in this column, it says if this would have been 161, which is lower than 171. But we don't just use one comp, we use more than one, right? To figure out an area. So this person would have potentially had a better buy than this person.
Doesn't those numbers on the bottom, like you keep going and you get to the next comp 3 and 4,
Yeah,
comp 3 is at 160.
192 for comp 3 and 185.
Yeah, and so doesn't that skew the whole value of the median equity value? I'm sorry, the median, back to sales.
The sales value, no, because it's calculating off of sales.
It's
Not-
going by the sales.
Yeah, it's going off of what someone paid. So it's comparing and saying if this house was like this house when it was actually purchased, then that's what this would have paid for. That's what this would have been valued at. If the subject had these elements, but it would have been valued at 185, not 171. And then it gets a median of those numbers
All right.
for 178.
Okay, I don't see any reason to change this.
No,
I don't either.
Okay,
okay.
All right, so on account number 67046, and specifically looking at the incorrect appraised market value and also looking at other reasons that were listed, I believe the 2020 value on that property I think it should remain the same at $171,730.
second. All in favor? There are no letters to be read?
I don't know.
Not that I know of. Do I need to confirm that with
Yes.
Val? Is that like a thing we need to
Please.
make sure
I
of?
think that was it.
That if there's any letters?
Yes. Or anything that came in that we need to consider.
Are we gonna go over that issue that we hadn't listened to before? Is that today?
Do what?
Well, we had to listen to the recording.
We did that.
We did that Monday morning.
We
We did
we
that one.
listened to the recording on Monday.
We ruled on that.
Oh, I guess I wasn't here. Was I here?
Yeah, you were here.
We're here.
Remember, there was some real loud noises. I'm sorry, Val.
No, it's fine. So as far as letters, we do have some in our possession. They are in the 3-day flux. Like when we receive something on a Monday, it doesn't get open until Thursday. But if you, as the ARB, would prefer to just not do the 3-day, that's just a district.
No, stay with your protocol.
Okay, all right. So it will be next week then. It'll be kind of like a.
They came in
week
today, so we're,
I
waiting
think some
3
came in
days?
on Monday, so it wouldn't be,
they came in on
Yeah.
Monday?
well, they're different days. So some came in on Monday. We've got big boxes and they have our mail for each day. So we've got a Monday box. There's some envelopes in there for ARB. Tuesday box, some envelopes for ARB.
But we're gonna have to hear these, Charlie, at some point.
Yeah, they have a protocol for managing them based on COVID. We
So-
should-
Because of the COVID, they have to put it in a box.
Yeah, we should not disturb their protocol.
So they will come to you. It will just be a bit of a lag time.
That's it, Val?
That's all I have.
All right.
We're done?
Or there,
Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn?
wait, and, oh, no, not yet. Darn it, it's still in on there yet, or is it?
No, it is.
Okay.
Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn this meeting.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
Say bye, Ramona.
Say goodbye.
Bye. Y'all have a great day. Oops, I did that